Hello everyone, my name is AP the Weird One, and we are back with the finale to Mobile Suit Gundam GQuuuuuX. This has been a rough journey from, the beginning was okay, but as the series went on, it definitely got a little bit clunkier. So how does this hot mess end? Does it end spectacularly good? Does it, redeem the series, or does it fall flat on its face? Well, let's start. I won't necessarily give a full recap, but let's get to the main crux of events. So, how does this world come about? Well, Shinji tells us that Lala Soon and her timeline, which is not the original Mobile Suit Gundam timeline, we'll get to that in a minute, she saw the witness of Char's death. And she's been using the Rosa Chiron, which is actually her machine, the Elmith, to create alternate worlds in which Char lives. She's been doing this for quite some time. And the only timeline that it has succeeded is the one in which Char assumes the Gundam. That's the only time that she exists. However, Shuji points out that Char Asimov has rejected this world despite her creating it. Now, that is not very apparent at first, but when we cut over to Chala Bull and Char Asimov, they're kind of talking in their cockpits. Char mentions that he is going to be the leader that will push the new types forward. She'd be the leader of the Principality of Zeon. He's going to be level commander. Chala realizes in the instincts this is wrong, as he kind of alludes to Char's counterattack, in which he did assume leadership, and that will only lead to destruction. He'll be sort of like Cecilia and to try to destroy the world, so he tries to prevent that. So, and the person who he is set up to replace him is his sister Sayla Mass, or Articia as she is called, her original name. So that's his plan. We're gonna get into the problems, but so we see that, and then they kind of duke it out. Now, at least according to imageries, I do want to show is that in the timeline in which the Nightingale, the Sazabi exists. This is Akuto Yamashita's interpretation. So the guy one of the workers on the Evangelion, that's his interpretation of the Sazabi. This is the one that he lives the most, in which basically Lala Soon dies, and then he continues. This is the one he lives the longest, at least in terms of the order of the events, because they show a bunch of different red comets, and this one being the last one that's assumed that the universal century, in which we are most familiar with, is the one that was the most successful until the current timeline. But current timeline. Now, as Shuji had pointed out, it's obvious that Char rejects the world, and that it's his responsibility to destroy it, and just let Lala Soon believe it's a dream, and because he wants to protect her. Well, Machu is not happy with that. She doesn't want to die or anything, so she has to go to battle with the White Devil, with the Gundam, and her teaming up with Nian and the G Fred. They actually do a pretty good, successful battle. There's essentially two big battles: the battle against the White Devil, the original Mobile Suit Gundam, and then also Char and Chala. Those two are fighting. Prior to these big battles, of course, Cecilia passes away. She has a moment about talking about having kids, and then it just kind of fizzles. It seemed like a bit dumb point. It's sort of lead up to where Char just inevitably kills her. But we have this, big battle, some good music. Eventually the Gundam grows in humongous size because it's getting its ass kicked by the two mobile suits. And he he manages to wipe out the G Fred, but not the GQuuuuuX. Machu believes that the Gundam has always been by her side, and that will protect her and hold on to her. and it will be the one that save it, and then basically goes into overdrive mode and kind of has a weird open mouth, and they're able to go on the offensive. And in a moment I was expecting, they kind of have their Kira moment there in the big flashing lights. Well, I'll show you guys in just a sec. But these two are talking. Machu talks to Suji. He's like, you can't protect Lala soon. If a new type needs someone else needs another person to survive, they're not a new type. You gotta let her go and let her suffer through, and let her experience anguish. So, and even the Gundam itself believes it. Now, I initially thought that Suji was the reincarnation of Amuro Ray, because as his journey continues traveling with Lala. He's been to every universe in which he's gone through, and then every time that she's been, except for this one, she's because he's died, she's fallen into darkness and collapses the world, basically. So he is followed through on that. Well, and at this timeline, like he says, the Gundam says, you don't need to do this, and I'm here for you. This is the voice of Amuro Ray, so it kind of lends the theory after the events of Char's counterattack. Amuro Ray goes to this new multiverse and assumes inside becomes kind of part of the GQuuuuuuX, which later Chala Bull will nickname it as the Demion Union. And he was kind of a hunter who kind of had some internal sleeping. He was very beloved by a goddess named Selene, the moon goddess. So kind of interesting. But anyway, through their little talking, we get the love scene. And for a good, I'd say 30 seconds, Suji confesses feeling to Machu, and Machu has a kiss. They kiss. If this would have been an old school Gundam, or even in the Gundam Origins, because Gundam Origins did feature a little bit of nudity, these two would probably be buck naked. We'd be seeing some some good fan service. And this scene kind of lasts for a good 30 seconds. And the funny bit is that the last series the ending was I reviewed was Yandere off the Chase Me from Another World. They have a kiss scene, but we don't get super close up shots. I'm like, I find that flashing, smacking the face to that. Like, that series was, good, was decent. This has been a little bit of a train wreck. So the fact that we get a closer up shot of the kiss is funny. But so they kiss. Suji's like, I'm glad I've met you and everything. And Machu finishes off the Gundam, and everything is hunky dory. Like we get a good happy ending, so to speak. Suji is of course lost, but Char has gone back to Earth where Lala Soon is, so he's going to meet up with her. They're going to have their happy ending. Our TSC has promoted the leader of Zeon, and of course Chala Bull he's got because this is his project, he's got to see it through. Ensign is the guy who spied on them. He's like, yeah, you got to kind of see this through. We do see the Pomeranians again, which I do want to talk about their mecha, but Machu eventually calls his mother, and both Nian and Machu are on the beach, which we're gonna get to. But this is Pomeranian's new mecha. It is apparently an underwater based mecha, so there is still we still kind of have Gundam battles happening. And of course, we have this a little bit of fan service. So those who saw the outro, we do get this fine number for Machu. And then we have CRC's Nian in her skimpy little outfit. Not super skimpy, but it's fan service. And then we got this moment, and it's like, now we've gone to Earth. Like, what's to next? And Machu's like, the Gundam has told me I gotta find Suji. He's like, the Gundam wants to see a happy ending. Because Amuro Ray, at least in the Universal Timeline, he got girlfriends, but he never got the happy ending. He always died, so he wants to see Machu get hooked up with Suji. And I guess because the implication that also Nian liked him as well, Suji gets a threesome. He gets a polyamorous relationship, so I kind of find that a bit funny. I know some talks on the internet were like these two are getting shit, but no, it's Shuji's little harem, so to speak. So, with that, how do I feel about this series? I do think the ending actually did help the end of this, It did help conclusion. The journey's been a little bit confusing. Do I mind this alternate ending? No, I think it was perfectly serviceable. I think the good intentions, however, it needed to be a little bit longer. Now, did it need to be a full 50 or like 48 episodes like other Gundam series? No, I think you could have probably have done everything in a roughly 24 episode, 25 episode. I think you could have sold it. I just think we needed to see more friendship between Suji and Nian and Machu, because she does mention her life was a bit boring, and just I think we needed to have more of that. We also needed more development between Nian and Cecilia, and also Machu and Chala Bull. We just needed a lot more character moments, and I think we even needed moments with even Char, and then we also needed to see how Chala set it up with Artesia. I think we need to see a little bit more development with that. So this, I think a lot of people would say this needed to be longer, and I'm not sure if it's necessarily the author or the studio that, if Sunrise is like, no, you gotta have to do this really quickly. I'm not sure exactly who's responsible. I'll give the benefit of the doubt. I think, Yuji Inoko and Hideki Eno, I think maybe they were put in a position that where they had to do this a bit short or something. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt for that. Now, with that being said, as crazy as this series ended, crazy this, as this road trip has been, I do like the series, and I wouldn't mind seeing a second season. And which the girls do find Suji. We see more of because there's always going to be an evil force that tries to do something, whether it's from the Earth Federation or not. I think it's always going to come to pass. So I think you could do a season 2. Maybe we could see Camille Bendon be the bad person or something. That would be kind of funny. I don't know. I wouldn't mind that. But before we end, let's talk about each of the Gundams that we were given and my overall thoughts. So first we have the 01 Gundam. So this is kind of like more of a prototype version. This is kind of like the gun cannon. This is one that Salem Mass wrote in. It's okay. It's a bit thin. I don't mind the colors. It's okay. I don't hate it. I wouldn't necessarily get a figure of it, but it's cool. Then we have the Mobile Suit Gundam. I'm just we'll get to where it is, but I don't like this color scheme for this mobile suit. I think it's okay in terms of design, but this colors, no, it does not work. But we do have the gun cannon. The gun cannon, yeah, I like the gun cannon. This is pretty nice. I don't think we got to see it during the main series, but I do. I like it. I like the big, nice, bulky nature of it. Even the light versions of the 01 Gundam, I think this still works perfectly fine. It just got a very nice uniform color. Then we have, I guess the RX. Okay, this is Artesia. This is Artesia's version. So this is her light cannon front. So my apologies. This is not too bad. I think if let's see, is it more? So it's not one of the thicker ones. Okay. If this is the prototype version, I'll say this is not that great of a design, and the gun cannons are all fine. Unfortunately, we never got to sell the gun tank, which is kind of a shame. That's only in the beginning, but this thing rocks. I stoked about it. Hopefully we get a figure of it. The Psycho Gundam. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it is definitely a miss badly. I don't think this too much through. And then the Hammurabi. This is actually good, and even the original design is pretty good. I think I've actually seen it and played it in like Mobile Dynasty Warrior Gundam, but this isn't bad. It definitely gives off a very Shark vibe, and given that recently we've seen Sharkmon, I'm like, this thing's not bad. So this is kind of like the middle ground. It's kind of the same way with the gun cans. They're all in the middle area. The Zaku's they're okay. They're not bad. Char's Char's not bad. It's a very fat boy, but I can see it working. And then we have the red version. I think this works a lot better than pink and red. I think goes exceptionally well with the mobile suit. I don't mind this version. I think the White Devil. I think that I would consider this more in the higher end. Then we have the GQuuuuuX. I don't hate it, but I think it's in lower middle, so it's not like in the Mobile Suit Gundam range, but it's definitely in the lower end. I would personally. Then we have the GQuuuuuuX. This is crap. I don't like this at all. The GM and the GQuuuuuuX itself are way better. I think the Big Zam didn't really. Big Zam. I mean, the Big Zam is probably in the higher end tier. I mean, it doesn't change too much. I think actually it looks a lot better than the original. Then we have the Rick Dom. We'll just go with the oh, there's a blue version. I guess we can look at all of them. Green's not bad. I just don't like the visor being red. I think if it has a different color, it would be perfectly fine. It definitely works in the purple version. I think this is a definite higher end. And then we have the Chala's Rick Dom. This is cool. I like the blue version. I wouldn't mind getting a figure of this. I think anything that Chala Bull pilots is good. This is the standard Gian. This isn't terrible. This is probably middle of the pack. But Xavier's, this, like with the shield and everything, this is top tier. I mean, maybe the regular version if it had all the weapons, but Xavier's is like one of the best, easily. And then we have the Kilgaroga. This thing in fighting was fun. I when you look at it, it looks very stupid, but then if you see it in action, it does rock. So I would also give this a higher end. The G Fred, middle of the pack, but higher end. It's almost high tier. I do like this a little bit better than the GQuuuuuuX, but I think we need a different recolor. Another recolor. Give it another coat of paint, Blaze. And then I guess we could do the Zaku Police as well. These look better than the normal police. We won't go the purple version, but that's fine. And then of course we'll just finish off with this was the Suga's. God, that head is so bad. If it had a different head, I'd probably say it's okay, but no. So I will end it there. I think definitely Xavier's Gan is my favorite of the bunch. I won't mess around. This is the king of the crop. But that I rambled long enough. You know, would I recommend watching it? Okay, you know, if you want something a little bit in the background, you want a little fast thrill, sure. If you're a diehard Gundam fan, I probably would say no. I'd honestly just maybe skip it. Look for something else better. But I don't think this is not the most terrible thing in the world. I had fun watching it. It looked beautiful. I had good music. So yeah, that's personally my take. I kind of gave it a 6 out of 10, 7. Like it needed just a little bit more work, and it would have hit the ball. If it was 24, I'd probably give it a solid 8 out of 10. I don't know what would make it for me a 10 out of 10 personally. It'd have to go. I think all the mecha and everything would have to be like have to be really cooked. I might have to see some proper fan service. But I've rambled long enough. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful day. And I think the next Mobile Suit Gundam that I'm doing is the one to Barbaros, so I don't think I would ever review that. But if there's kind of like another spin-off, yeah, I'm willing to give some more review of the Gundams a try. And I'll probably eventually start rewatching the original Gundam. Anyway, my name's AP the Weird One. Hopefully you have a rest of a wonderful day. See you guys next time. See you guys on Thursday. See you guys on Thursday for the tomorrow for more Full Metal Panic, and then Thursday, of course, for Rock is a Lady's Must See. Anyway, take care.